Resuming debate, the honourable member for Mr. Speaker, it's a great pleasure for me to join in the debate and support my colleague for Thérèse Blainville in raising awareness around organ transplants and what can be done to make the system work better all across the country. I was very encouraged to hear what was said during the first hour of debate on September 27th. It's important to share these success stories and to look at what's working in other provinces and territories in order to enrich our own efforts. Unfortunately, in many cases, we're looking for new ways of doing things when hardship strikes. Too many Canadians are still dying because of a lack of organ donors. In some cases, in other cases, as my colleague for Guelph pointed out, a successful transplant can create greater awareness and a higher number of new donors. That shows that these testimonies, communication, and community play a crucial role in raising awareness to the issue of organ donation. We need to do more to increase the number of donors and to find out what's working well in order to build a truly national system that's available to all Canadians. In Quebec, since 1987, the provincial health card has been the official vehicle for all those wishing to donate an organ. All you have to do is sign the back of the card to be a participant in the program. In Ontario, Services Ontario set up a website, beadonor.ca, where Ontarians can simply and quickly sign up in under 2 minutes. Once the form is completed, it doesn't have to be repeated in subsequent years. A similar process is available in BC and has been since 1997. By visiting bctransplant.ca, you can add your name to the list quite simply. This system is around in other provinces. It's readily accessible. It's simple to use.
However, resources in other provinces are limited, and this can penalize Canadian citizens who don't have access. With motion M189, we will be able to study and share all of these best practices in the goal of establishing a safer and fairer organ and tissue donation system all across the country that will be effective. I'd also like to underline the exceptional work of the Canadian Association for Organ Donation, Organ and Tissue Donation, which has done a lot of work raising awareness among the public and has been working since 1987. From 1987 until December 2017, over 15,000 organ donations, or transportations rather, have been done, including in my riding. A successful organ donation is not only something that has to do with generosity, it's also the result of coordination between different medical services and the many volunteers who help transport organs and tissues to their final destination. It is our duty, in partnership with provincial and municipal governments, to support these local services and give them the tools they need to do their work effectively. The work of doctors and nurses is vital if we want organ and tissue donation to succeed. So we need to support them properly and ensure that the methods that we have in place benefit them as well. As the member for Thérèse de Blainville mentioned, we should never forget the human value that is at the center of this debate. Organ donation is sometimes objected to by the family of the deceased person. There may be a lack of communication, or a person may react badly to the loss of their loved one. This type of decision should not burden them during the period of their grieving. The period after a loved one's death should always be spent in privacy and should not be disturbed by debating such a sensitive question. This is why it's important to have a public awareness campaign to ensure that such situations can be avoided. The process should be the same regardless of where someone lives in Canada. It's also our duty to communicate this information properly and to encourage communication between family members and to ensure that organ donation is not a taboo subject. We need to remind Canadians that they can sign up as a donor regardless of their age. We also need to tell them that organ donation can also be carried out during one's life. That can be a scary idea, and this is why public awareness campaigns are so important. I think that the report on organ donation in Canada, which was tabled by the Standing Committee on Health, is a good starting point, particularly when we're looking at the recommendations of M189. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, I can say personally that organ donation has really benefited people who need it. My uncle died a few years ago, and he was able to donate his eyes. This allowed 2 people to see again. So this makes a real difference. This is a difference that we can see ourselves. In fact, my cousin had the chance of meeting the 2 people who received the donations and was able to see the positive impact that it had in their lives. In Montreal as well, just a couple of months ago, there was the very first face transplant in Canada. This is an extraordinary medical feat. It was a full transplant, not just of the skin, but of the full face, including the nose, the cartilage, the teeth, and the mouth. Only a few patients in the world have ever had a total, complete face transplant. This should encourage us to make organ and tissue donations, even if it's only because we know that a single donor can make an impact in 20 different people's lives. We should take steps towards ensuring that organ and tissue donation become normalized in Canada. We have the tools that we need, and we also have the desire to improve the situation. I think that with motion M189, it will be possible to set up an effective system regardless of where people live. Canadians are a generous people. I'm sure that we will be able to find the best way to standardize organ donation across Canada and to encourage Canadians to become committed to this cause. Personally, I signed my organ donor card. What about you? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.